New Jersey State Senator Holly Schepisi is here, Republican representing Bergen County, right across the river from New York. It's good to see you, ma'am. Thank you very much. What I'm trying to understand, just in the larger sense here, you're talking about a very small percentage of the population of kids who are transgender. It just is. It's less than 1%. Why is this issue, you think, occupying such an enormous part of the political, cultural, lawmaking conversation in America right now?
Honestly, I think part of it is almost the look, there's a squirrel approach that the Democratic Party is intentionally doing rather than having parents focus on the massive learning loss that took place as a result of almost 2 years of lockdowns in blue states. But it's gone even beyond parental consent. The policies in New Jersey that have been put forth essentially by executive fiat prohibit schools from having very sensitive conversations with parents in any sort of capacity. And school boards that have pushed back now find themselves on the receiving end of threats, bullying, and lawsuits by the Attorney General, the governor's office, that view themselves as co-parenting our own children.
I think the co-parenting idea is one that's pretty clear about how certain school districts now view the relationship between parents, teachers, or the schools and the kids. This sort of goes back to this issue of local control, right? If in Vermont they want to talk about sperm-producing people and egg-producing people, if in Florida they want to ban certain books, if in New Jersey they want to say parents can't know if a kid changes their identity. What's sort of wrong with at the most local level, people making the laws that they see fit?
I think it's something where this did not occur legislatively. This literally occurred pursuant to the governor putting forth an executive order saying that this is what I am mandating. And then the attorney general, who used to be his chief counsel, implementing these sort of policies. And, it goes towards a greater trend, particularly in New Jersey, of almost saying that parents are the bad guys. And it flies in the face of science. It flies in the face of everything. I mean, one of the most known transgender activists, transgender psychologists, who's actually transgender herself, has come back and said, these policies are wrong. They go too far. They're actually creating schisms within families when children, particularly if they happen to be transgender or part of the LGBTQIA community, that parents should be involved. And it's better for the child's well-being unless there is actual abuse or neglect.
Yeah, the flip side of this, right, is always pointing to the mental health issues that are much more prevalent in that community. Reported feeling persistently sad or hopeless, LGBTQ, 69%, heterosexual, 35%. Seriously considering attempting suicide, LGBTQ, 45%, heterosexual, 15%. I'm wondering if there's not something else at work here. In that the pendulum, and we know this, that the pendulum always swings too far in America. The cultural pendulum always swings farther than the political one does, if you will. And if you think about what's happening with Bud Light, if you think about what's happening with Target and other big businesses, we're seeing the cultural pendulum starting to swing back. And yet the political pendulum is still swinging out. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. And it's something where, on the mental health side of things, we have a pandemic in this nation of young children who, because of the pandemic itself and the lockdowns, the uptick in mental health issues has increased exponentially. You're talking about a vulnerable group of children who literally were locked down, weren't allowed to socialize, got everything off of social media, social influencers. You're seeing a huge uptick in children who are now identifying as part of this community as well. And we need to take a measured approach. We need parents to be part and parcel of that conversation.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.